right. Welcome, everyone, to the Pryor Creek Recreational Center Board regular meeting, Monday, March 7th, 2022. Item 1, call to order. Item 2, approve minutes of the February 7th, 2022 regular meeting. Those have been provided for you. So if you'd like to review, if you have any questions or discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 7th meeting as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Riff. Motion made by Mr. Riff, second by Mr. Cantrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Item number 3, petitions from the audience. Don't all speak up at once. Okay. All right. Item number 4, discuss possible recommended council action regarding the contract between Ready, Set, Float, LLC, and the Pryor Creek Recreational Center.
So Ready, Set, Float teaches the infants, I don't know if you've seen that, where they just throw them in the pool and the infants know how to turn over on their back and float and stay alive. And so it's a very expensive thing to get certified in, but we have a lady who contacted us. She can teach swim, float, swim, but she just needed a pool. So this contract is very similar to, or it is similar to the dance and Miss Jimmy and the swim team. So they receive their money, we get 20% at the end of the 6 weeks. And so she's got several, she has 1 to 4 in the pool every day, and it's just her one-on-one, so it doesn't take up much room. But it's a time when the pool isn't heavily utilized, and then it's just another way for us to make revenue. So I just wanted to make sure we had something in contract like we do everybody else. So that's all this is.
There's a copy of it on the back side of your minutes, copy of the contract.
Jessica, what is the lady's name?
Her name is, I'll get it for you. It slipped my mind. There's two people that are part of the Ready, Set, Float LLC. I'll get it for you.
You told me that before, and
Yeah,
and
I can't remember.
I can't-
Brandy, and then, yeah, I'll get it for you. And their fee, I believe, for the 6-week session is $500, I believe, and so we would get 20% of that. So I'll be able to report back probably next month what we made on that.
Any discussion? I entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve the contract between Ready, Set, Float and the Pryor Creek Rec Center.
All right, motion made by Mr. Cantrell,
I second.
second by Ms. Marsh. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Item number 5, discuss possible recommended council action regarding bids received for weekly, bi-weekly lawn maintenance for PCRC from Recreation Groundskeeping account 84-845-5047. Bids received, Oklahoma Mowing Company in the amount of $750, Fleet Construction in the amount of $750, and Lambert Lawn Solutions in the amount of $860.40.
Okay, if you want to look at the attachments that are there, you can kind of see, I broke it down just like we did last year, because what happens is we have them come in and mow the entire grounds 1 week, and then the next week they just mow the front half that is visible to the members that are coming in. So that's kind of a breakdown. They present it 3 different ways, but I tried to highlight the numbers so you can see kind of apples to apples. So of course the 2 lowest bids are Oklahoma Mowing Company and Fleet Construction. And I didn't recommend either one because I feel like they're both the same price. I will say Oklahoma Mowing Company, that's who we used last year. He did have to increase his rates a little bit just because gas prices are so high, and he gave me a heads up about that in the fall, that those would have to go up. And I think it went up, I think it was $675 last year, so it's not a huge increase.
So happy with the
I
job
was.
he did last year?
I was happy with the job, and if I had ever had any issue with him, I let him know, and he came right back out and took care of it. I think that only happened once or twice with a different crew that he had come in. I also will say that any other needs that we had, I needed help after the awning was made and we had all that work that needed to be done. They came right out and did it. He's already given me some bids on some tree trimming and some other. The thing about Mike Price and Oklahoma Mowing Company, he's a member, so he's there every single day. So his eyes are on it. And as he would notice things, he would come in and say, you might look at doing this, you might look at doing that. It looks like we need to hit this a little bit earlier this week, so we'll be in, Tuesday instead of Thursday. And so there's constant communication. He's local, and we've used him before. Fleet Construction is Dawson Fleek, who does not live here. But great kid, and I think would be great to work with. It's one of those, I don't have an issue with Mike and Oklahoma Mowing Company, so that might be the better route to go.
Sounds to me like, you had no issues with this individual. And he's familiar with the grounds, and he is a member.
Right.
That would be my recommendation.
I'll make a recommendation that we recommend Oklahoma Mowing Company to the council for the bid for
Okay.
mowing.
I have a motion made by Mr. Cantrell to accept Oklahoma Mowing Company's bid of $750.
Second.
Second by Mr. Riff. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Item number 6, discuss possible recommended council action regarding accepting bid from Murray Wobel in the amount of $3,775 for basketball rims padding for the PCRC from Recreational Repair and Maintenance account 848455091. Other bids received, performance services in the amount of $4,307 and school and office products in the amount of $4,300.
Okay, so this is for the new rims and new padding in the gym. And what happened is we had one of the rims break last month, and so I had them come out, and once we got in there and started looking, the other ones, they're 16 years old now, so they're, rusted, and the padding that was on was a different kind of padding that just didn't hold up, and so one goal has one piece on one side, and the other goal is missing all of it, and so anyway, this will just be, they will come in and they will make all of them be the breakaway rims, so that if we do have anybody, we try to keep people from hanging on them, but if we do have anybody hang on those and something were to break, it would break away from the rim and all the glass wouldn't come down. Right now, the ones that we had, if somebody hangs on that too long, it could shatter the whole thing. So the basketball gym is one area that I don't know has gotten any attention in the last few years, and I think this is a great way to kind of show those basketball players they're important to us, and it needs to be done. It hasn't been done since we opened, so it's one of those that if you're not in there, you probably don't notice it, but if you're in there, it's very obvious that it needs some new equipment in there. And Murray is who originally did all of that, so they're very familiar with our facility, and the others, of course, were higher, so that was my recommendation.
Any discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we recommend the council that Murray Womble, in the amount of $3,775 for basketball rims padding for the rec center.
Motion made by Mr. Cantrell,
Second.
second by Mr. Riff. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Item number 7, director's report.
Okay, quickly, just a few things on here. Facility repair and maintenance. Again, we went through that hard rain on, when was that? Saturday? Is that when it rained? Sunday. I believe it was Sunday evening. And Jess said this morning there were no leaks, no issues whatsoever, and it came down pretty hard and fast for a while. So far so good on that. Mayor approved for Digi came out and gave us an estimate, which is under, I think it was 1900, somewhere in there, for a new camera and to relocate some things so that we have video footage and camera access to underneath the awning, because right now the awning is blocking, well, of course, we can't see the sidewalk, but we can't even see the drop-off zone. So they're gonna come in and reinstall that and get that to where we can see under there. And then Mayor and I will be meeting in the morning to start looking at some new items in the budget for next year. So just starting to try to plan that out and some things that we need to do. And then I will pass out, he has the financial report, I'll let him go over that, but I'll go ahead and pass mine out just so you can look at it, because it's very comparable, I think, to what he's gonna show you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, Mr. Chairman, Board, I have page 57 through 61, I believe it is, with the normal pages that you get from me. So on page 57, you see the balance sheet and the number of total fund equity of 1,254,214.83. That would be down some from last month because of some of the expenditures that we've had, but the reserve that we have is still very healthy. The next page, page 58, is encouraging. Our fund revenue for the period reporting February is about $9,000 above what it was last month. $7,000 of that is because of sales tax. So that gives a picture of how important our sales tax revenue is to our operations. But the other of that did come from operations. So that's also encouraging that we have $2,000 of that $9,000 that we're up comes from operations. The next page, 59, you'll see it on the percentage column, the right hand down below, we have expended 39.9% of budgeted expenses with 67% of the fiscal year that has elapsed. And so, and then if you look also on next page, page 60, with aquatics, we've expended 40.6%. Child Watch, we've expended 52.4%, and with the fitness department, expended 41.4%, all with 67% of the year that has elapsed. So we have a couple of things going on. We have our revenues that have increased, but we're also doing a very good job of managing our expenses. Always, our expenses, normally the most expensive thing with our expenses is our salaries and our wages. But when you look at item 5091 on page 59, you see that $482,000 that was budgeted. There's some expenses that we have had and have incurred that have not come out of that line item yet.
Is that being the roof?
I'm sorry?
Is that being the roof?
Yes, yes,
So probably a big part of that's spoken for.
that's correct, that's correct. So when I mention the 39.9%, I should also mention what has been encumbered against that line item to give you a good clear picture. So, excuse me, on page 61, you see the net revenue over expenses. The period of 52,804, we are net revenue above expenditures. And on the year-to-date actual, the 60,761, last month we were at 113,565 in the hole. And this month, the reporting is that we've actually made up about $52,800, and that comes from the increased revenue and also from the management of the expenses. So I hope the board's encouraged about that.
Absolutely.
That's 1 month reporting. When the report that way is that way in a month, it's encouraging to management. And so that's a good thing. Back on page 59, I'll draw your attention to the sales tax. We talked about this last month. The sales tax on, that's line 5201, that's at 92.8% of budgeted expenses. And also the credit card and related expenses at 115.8% of the budgeted expenses. Those items are a direct result of revenue activity through the operation. So that's not to be concerned about. Any questions for me?
So when we talked about the roof, when do we actually have to pay for that?
We do have the bill on that. That'll be paid this month,
Okay.
in the month,
And I noticed
in the
on
month of March.
bottom line, where it's talking about capital outlay equipment, is that something that we just didn't spend as much as, because I'm assuming we paid for the new equipment?
Actually, the new equipment's coming out, I believe it comes out in March too.
It'll come out in March as well.
So this report's gonna look totally
So
different, Mark.
we get the PO ahead of time, but we can't submit it for payment until everything's done. And so I had to wait on that equipment, we had a couple pieces that they had replaced, and so I just got it submitted.
Okay.
So we'll see all those
Yeah.
hits coming up in the
Yes,
next
we will.
report.
Yes, we will. Any other questions?
But just looking at that amount, that 400 and something thousand, knowing what we're did for the roof, we're still gonna have some money in there. It's not gonna blow that budget line.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. If no other questions, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
And I would like to note, both the roof and the equipment were under what we had budgeted. So did a good job of staying under, and then we even made that money back from surplus to help offset some of that too, so. Okay, where was I? Aquatics. So Jackie's numbers for swim party were comparable to last month. We had 17 public and 4 private. She's got a few private lessons, but we're having a really big shortage with lifeguards. And so Jackie's having to work every Saturday and Sunday. So she's kind of pushed to the limit right now. So I told her to back off those swim lessons till we got our lifeguards built back up. She did hold a lifeguard class this past weekend. So we're hoping that's gonna, and I actually hired another one last week. So we're hoping that's gonna get us back to 5 or 6, which that's ideal if we can hang on to them. So once that gets done and she gets back to her normal schedule, we'll start picking up those private lessons again. And then eventually group will come in April and May. Jackie came up with the mermaid event. I don't know if you guys saw pictures on Facebook or have heard the buzz about that, but
Yes.
we had 109 kids, plus parents and grandparents, and that made the rec center $802. So that was a 2-hour event that turned out to be really great, and everybody had a good time. So we're going to do the Easter egg pool hunt or whatever next month in April, and then she said we'll look at doing another mermaid thing at the beginning of the summer. So they were excited. They're ready to come back every month, and the kids are excited. So we'll do that again. And then the Inola boat races will be here at the end of the month. They'll actually be here April 1st. It's a Friday, and they'll be here doing that. Personnel report. I mentioned last month that Rhonda Greer would be starting. She actually starts tonight. Her boot camp class was at 5:15 tonight, so that'll be her first one. We'll see how that goes. And then just miscellaneous stuff. We had 173 new members for February. That is down a little bit. January was 200 and something, I believe. So that was down a little bit, still a great number. And our reconciliation report, which is what I tend to look at a little more, was at 84% again. So I feel like that's good if we can stay over 80% and keep retaining people. We held an English Channel swim challenge. where they basically had to swim 21 miles in 28 days. If you think about it, that's a lot of pool time. And we had 3 very competitive gentlemen that did it. They were all trying to beat each other, not just get the 21 miles.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, down and back is one. It's one lap. And Roy Jackson swam 1,010 laps in a month. And technically got first place. They weren't supposed to be competing against each other, but every day it was like, how many did Robert get? How many did Roy get? Yeah. Robert Mobbs came in second, I guess, at 956, and then Bob Webster came in third for 900. So they were all offered a free membership, and they got a T-shirt, and so bragging rights. So they actually had a lot of fun doing it. That was a really tough competition or challenge, so we were proud of them.
We should do one for laps, and I can watch Terry and however many he does, and I'll say I did one more.
You could challenge his wife. You might be in trouble. She's pretty good in there. We also had a dodgeball tournament on the 12th that brought in, forgot to write that down. I believe it was $260 or $270. And there was a team from Pegg's Locust Grove area called the Stooges that beat Mub this time and won. We have Debbie Lyons 3-on-3 tournament scheduled for March 26th. We are still looking for referees for that and finalizing all the details of that, but we're hoping that we can have that in 3 weeks. And then pickleball is booming on Tuesday, Thursday morning, so we added another court, and they actually helped me, or they did it, I just stood there, but they taped it all off. So now we have 2 courts so that they can have 2 games going at once, and they're not having to stand around and wait. So that's from 8 to 10, and they've even started doing a little bit on Friday mornings. So that has sparked interest in an evening group. So this evening group is going to be getting with me this week about what time they want to come up and play, and so hopefully we can add an evening pickleball. So it's fun. If you haven't ever done it, it's a lot of fun. We should do it sometime. I love it. I'm kind of addicted.
I've never played.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun.
I've tried it.
But I like it. But I have my first injury. I hit my shin with the board. I don't know how that happened, but it's a little dangerous sometimes, but it's a good time. The new class schedule started today. So the 8:30 a.m. class has become very popular, and they were wanting an extra day in the pool because they're just Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So what we've done is we've given the 8:30 class 4 days a week and the 9:30 class 4 days a week. So they're all happy with that. And I think that's it. The only other thing I wanted to mention, I've already talked to the mayor about it. Next month, our meeting is scheduled for April 4th, and I'm going to be out of town. So if everybody's good with April 11th, it's just the following Monday. City Hall, Darla said that the city calendar was clear for April 11th. So we'll do same time. We'll just do it a month. Or a week later. And I'll send out an email reminder when it gets a little bit closer.
Good to go.
Okay. I think that's all. Did you guys?
Question.
Yeah.
I was curious as to where things stand on the outdoor facility.
The fitness court?
Yes?
So I reached out to the company again last week and talked to them. And from the feedback that I have received, it's still in the process and still very positive, and just trying to figure out how to designate that funding and how to kind of provide that for us. But it's there, and they want to support it.
So was it something that they were going to make a donation based on some matched funding in the community? Is that how it's supposed to work?
I'm not sure exactly where their funds are coming from at this point.
Okay.
And I think that's what they're still trying to figure out too. But I think what it boils down to is they kind of have some health initiatives and some things, and this lines up well with what they are wanting to support. And so it's just a matter of
I
getting
just
it all
didn't
done.
know if we were supposed to try to find somebody with some local involvement or willingness to do something, or at least show, hey, within the community, we'll raise this much money if we can get this much. I thought that was kind of the way it worked initially, maybe.
So it can work just about any way we can make it work. But my last conversation, was that they wanted to fully support it.
Oh, okay.
And so if they're wanting to fully support it and they think they have the funding, we're gonna kind of hold tight now and see how that works out. But we've already discussed, Plan B and Plan C and, on other ways, because there's a lot of different ways we can do it with different companies or different organizations. There's different levels of sponsorship, whether you have a sole one or you have several. And so there's lots of different things we can do, but this is really promising. So at this point, we're just gonna wait. And National Fitness Campaign, I meet with them monthly, through a Zoom meeting, so they're in the loop too and good with the wait. And so we're just kind of hanging tight for right now.
The National Fitness Campaign understands how municipalities work, and they work with municipalities all over the country. And so a delay that happens, like what is happening here, how long we've been talking about it, for?
So we started talking last April, last April.
Yeah, because we went to Okmulgee last April and toured that court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that doesn't catch them by surprise, because they deal with municipalities, and so that's just part of it sometimes.
Yep.
Good thing is, now we applied for the grant and got the grant again. And then the city would match that,
Yes,
and then anything beyond that comes from sponsorships.
yes.
So-
And that's all been approved for this year, so if we can't, my hope is that we can make something happen before June 30th, because if not, we'd have to take that all the way
All
back
go back
through
through the process again.
for the next fiscal year. But hopefully we can get all of that going before the end of
Yeah,
June.
that's right, because it was approved in the beginning of the last fiscal year, which, so it goes through, and then, so we'd have to approve it again through the city,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's something that I have on my agenda for our meeting tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yep.
And once we get approval or we get a commitment and we get the ball rolling and the funding is lined out, it can be up and going in like 4 months. It doesn't take a super long time. It's just this waiting process takes longer than anything, but
It'd be really cool to get it this summer.
that'd be great. Yeah, it would be great. So I'm still getting very encouraging responses from them, so, yeah. Hang tight a little bit. Anything else?
Any other discussion or questions? I'd just like to say that you're doing a wonderful job and continue to see progress in every one of these meetings that we have and in the reports and the financials and activities. So thank you to you and your team, Jessica. All right, item number 8, unforeseen business. Seeing we have none, item number 9, adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Cantrell,
I second.
second by Marsh. All in favor?
Amen.
Aye, with an amen. And thank you all.